Barakatuhu. This is your brother Nafis Abu Zayd here at Maktab Ibn Taymiyyah, and today we have an esteemed guest, and you know we already got our co-host
Isa Abu Isa. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
This is a continuation of our series of doing interviews and introducing different students and different brothers, alhamdulillah, from all parts of the country of America as well, and introduce to the people that there are beneficial knowledge out there. With us are esteemed guests, Brother Ukkaasha Abdullah Muhammad, student of Sheikh Muqbil, and many others. He spent a extended amount of time overseas, especially in Yemen, about 8 years. He also the president of, which is known as Markaz Safinatul Nuh. He's currently, he do live views, he do classes, and he's very engaging in the community. Here, inshallah ta'ala, we would like to ask him a series of questions that he can explain to us his journey in seeking knowledge, would he have benefit from being over there, and some parting wisdom words he can give us.
No.
Brother Isa will, conduct the interview, inshallah.
He said, can you please give us a little background about yourself and who you are? How about some of your academic accomplishments?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala rasulih al-kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa sallama tasliman kathiran. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Amma ba'd. The first thing I want to say is Alhamdulillah alladhi hadana ila hadha walau lam hadayna ma kunna muhtadin. That I want to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has guided us to this religion of Islam, the religion of Islam upon the book of Allah, the sunnah of His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon the way of the illustrious companions, because if not for that we will not have been guided. I also want to ثم بعد ذلكم بارك الله فيكم, to thank the brothers here for having a good thought about me, allowing me to be here in their presence. My kunya, my nickname is Abu Abdurrahman, and that is because I do have a son named Abdurrahman, unlike those who don't have a son and they name themselves the names of children. He is my oldest son, alhamdulillah, and my name is Ukkaasha Abdulrahman Muhammad, and of course I'm American, African American, and I was born in the city of St. Louis, the state of Missouri, in 1966, to both Father Clifford Favell and Joyce Haynes. I'm the middle child of 5, and the first to accept Islam. Then after that, my older brother, Asim Ali, well, now he resides in North Carolina, as I reside in North Carolina, the city Durham. Naam, alhamdulillah. I accepted Islam in 1989, going into the year 90 in Newark, New Jersey, after being a Baptist Christian, and thereafter I started to study in Newark with Imam of the Islamic Center of Branford Place, 24 Branford Place there in Newark. His name was Sheikh Ahmed Salim, who now, many years later, is the president of Al-Minhal and on the board of Plainfield and Piscataway, New Jersey. And I started learning the basic things as a Muslim should learn from the issues of how to pray and how to purify yourself before the Salah and so forth. Then from that, I want to learn from the language books of Medina with Khalif Abdul Wali, who was African American who had studied in Medina himself. And from that, I moved on to the community of 61 Lincoln Street, East Orange, New Jersey, where Imam Ahmed Burhani was the Imam. After maybe a year of being under their teachings there, in 1994, they elected Dawood Adib, our brother, to be the Imam. There we studied general lessons from amongst them that I remember, Al-Halal wal-Haram fil Islam, the halal and the prohibited in Islam. And then we also studied in English, Al-Aqidat al-Wasatiyya was the English translation with Dawood. And I remember when he mentioned that the nation of Islam, they are from the Ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he did not say anything but that. So it started a big commotion in the masjid because people said, how could this be? That they're from the Ummah of the Prophet when they say that Allah came in the form of Master for Muhammad, A'adam Billah, and that Elijah is the messenger after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But what he failed to do was tell them that Ummah ينقسم إلى القسمين وهما أمة ماذا دعوة وأمة استجابة أمة الدعوة وأمة الاستجابة, and that is those people that are being called, which includes everybody, including the Jews, Christians, and of course that would include the nation. And then those who accept, in layman terms, became Muslim, then we were the Ummah that accepted, which we normally say Muslim. So that was a class that later on he had to come back and clarify. And those were some of the early studies we had there in 1994 and Masjid Rawdatullah Islamic Center in East Orange. Then around 95, Barakallahu Fikum, Dawood had brought many people to the area, such as Abu Muslima Abdullah Tawfiq, Khalifa Abdul Rahman, Abu Usama Dahabi, the likes of Ahmed Abdullah, Abu Uwais, and others, and trying to build a community. And then things revolved to the point that we know the history and so forth. So that was the beginning of my transformation from being a non-Muslim to a Muslim. And as I mentioned before, my birthplace is St. Louis, Missouri, and I became known on the East Coast from that event.
No.
So when we say, how about some of your academic accomplishments, what can you say about that in terms of your study?
From amongst some of my academic accomplishments, I will have to be safe and truthful, saying that they started in America. As Imam Nawawi, rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned in his book of Fatawa and some of his other dissertations and his works, that a person should exhaust the knowledge in his locale before he travels abroad. So he found some of us trying to learn what we could learn here in the United States. After making Hajj in 95, 97 was the departure to Egypt, where I had the chance to stay in 1997, Safan Has, which is a borough in Cairo, and also the village in Scandaria called Abis Athani. There I studied 1 and 2 levels of the Medina language books, typically known as Juz Awwal Athani, first and the second level of the Arabic language books, and not the side books that they have with that program. And I studied and memorized Juz Amma and some of Juz Tabari. That was in the village of Scandaria. As for Cairo, then I spent about 6 to 8 months with the late Sheikh who died in 2010 by the name of Sheikh Abdul Wahab, Muhammad Abdul Wahab al-Maghzoub al-Bana, which is the elder brother of the well-known to us Sheikh Hassan al-Banna. There's a difference between Bana and Bana. They are from the Bana family. And the Sheikh, he was from the scholars of Mecca and Jeddah, but he would come home on vacation to Egypt to give dawah. And that particular time he was teaching from the Mukhtasar of Sahih al-Bukhari by Al-Imam Muhammad Nasr al-Din al-Albani. And we covered Kitab al-Tahara and some of Kitab al-Salah. And at that time I could speak Arabic. I could understand some percentage of Arabic. And if I got stuck, I had English if the person knew English. And the Sheikh was one of those who knew English. He would look to me in front of him in the lesson and say, "Do you understand my speech?" Like this. And alhamdulillah, I remember the generosity of the Sheikh rahimahullah ta'ala, as one time he made me allow him to take me home. And it was like walking maybe 50 feet from one place to another. But he insisted to get in the car, make a U-turn opposite side of the street, and take me home. So I obeyed him, as we learned coming up in St. Louis, that you obey the elders, you respect the elders. Before the statement of Prophet mentioning Alam Yukram Kabirihim, and whoever does not obey and honor and respect his elders, that it's a sin on him. It's not from amongst those who are following my sunnah. We knew this coming up, from Christianity and being reared in our households. So I obeyed the Sheikh. So as we pull up to the house, which again, mind you, I could have walked in 5 minutes, the Sheikh, he said, reaching in the sun visor, he said, "It is better to give your money to the student of knowledge than to give it to the poor." And he gave me a handful of Egyptian pounds, which was around the equivalent of close to 80 American dollars. And he said, because when you give your money to the student of knowledge, you get 2 rewards. One for giving to the poor, as most students are poor. Not all of them. And the Sheikh is not encouraging the student to be poor, but he's talking about the reality. That most students are poor, and you give to the student of knowledge. And so, alhamdulillah, we found the Sheikh being generous like that. And another event that happened with the Sheikh, I had a son that was born at the time, 1997. My son, Abdul Nur, was 1 year old. And I got the call from New Jersey that said, we need to come home because your son is very sick and your wife is struggling with the children. And so that particular night was worried to the point that I didn't sleep. And I was up making dua until Fajr. So I said this particular morning, ما أستطيع أن أجلس في درس الشيخ. I cannot sit in the dars of the Sheikh. I was very tired. So after the salah, which the Sheikh, he would make ruku', and then you will hear him moaning in ruku', because of the pain in his legs. And he was in his upper 80s then. And in the Julus, Justice al-Akira, where you should sit on your buttocks or your legs, the Sheikh was sitting on his buttocks on the floor with his legs facing like this. And this was the first time that, a young student like me had seen that, But I didn't do like most people do today, What is the Sheikh doing? Make, some feeling in my chest. But I wondered, like, wow, I've never seen that. And so the Sheikh explained that as long as you're sitting, this is the condition of the last tashahhud, or the only tashahhud. And he could not sit with his legs, behind him. Thus he would sit with his legs stretched out, facing the Kaaba. So after that, the Sheikh, he began to give his dars, and I was trying to get out of the door quickly before he started. And he stopped his dars. Mind you, we were in a big government masjid that the ceiling must have been like maybe 100 feet, and the width of the building is, you've been to Egypt, very big, So he said, "Call him back," like this. So the brothers to call me back. So one of the brothers, Mustafa Lofton, tried it called me back. He said, Saud, as that was my name during that time. Saud, the Sheikh, is calling me back. So I went back, and I didn't say, nah, I'm your Sheikh. I understood, sit down. If he's calling you, he's disapproving of you leaving. In other words, that means obey and just sit down. So I sat down, very tired. And after the dars, he said to me, pray 2 raka'ah and don't leave. This story was connected to a previous story where the Sheikh asked me, where is your family? And this was before I got the news I needed to come home. And I said, they're in America. And so I asked the Sheikh about Hijrah, and he said to me, why do you want to make Hijrah? You can give dawah in your country. You should be there giving dawah. Now, mind you, I'm a new student, young, accepted Islam maybe 7 years ago. But the Sheikh is telling me to give dawah. What do we learn from this? That a person should do what he can based upon his ability, not beyond his ability, neither less than that. And the Sheikh understood that, And so, fast forwarding back to the story, the Sheikh asked me on that occasion, but he seen that I had some worry. And after we prayed the 2 rak'ah, the Sheikh, he took me in the corner, away from the people. He opened his suit coat blazer. He took out some type of billfold, and he opened it, and he counted 1, 2, 3, until he got to 10 crisp $100 bills. He said, go home to your family. And my eyes watered up from the amazement and the joy of the generosity of a man like this, who only knew me as a student there with him for, half of a year, 3/4 of a year. And, we in America, we know one another for, tens of years. You can't get a slice of bread from him, SubhanAllah. So, this is one of the experiences.
And this is Sheikh Hassan al-Banna.
His brother, Muhammad.
الذي
كان من هيئة كبار العلماء.
ما شاء الله.
وهو كان من صاحب إمام الألباني، حتى نقل بعض إخواننا على أن هذان رجلان عالمان جاء إلى سانت لويس في بداية الثمانينات للدعوة. They came to St. Louis in the early 80s. Both Sheikh Muhammad and was Sheikh, the 2 Muhammads, Muhammad Nasruddin al-Albani and Sheikh Muhammad Mada Luhaq Marzuq al-Bani. So this, although the Sheikh would say, I'm not Juz Amma, Juz Tabarak, and study from the Mukhtasar of Sayyid Bukhari with a alim, as young as I was. And then the next year, 98, I went to Yemen with the intention to go to Dammaj. And the government, they knew that we were trying to go to Dammaj, so they forced us to go to Jamaat al-Iman, which during that time, many people thought Jamaat al-Iman was a school of Salafiyah. And some even said, Jamaat al-Salafiyah, and making a mistake. And Imam Muqbil, who was asked this, he said this is not Jamaat al-Salafiyah. And he mentioned Jamaat al-Iman huwa bayna at-tasawwuf wal-jahil. Na'am. It was a school that basically was a mixture of people of Sufiya and Tablighi, which really Tablighi's are part of Sufiya. As Imam Fawzan has mentioned, they go and look at what they themselves believe and what they have in their own doctrine. You see they have Qita' min al-Sufiya. So I stayed there in the Qism Lugha, Shurba, the Arabic program, while people like my roommate, Dr. Akil Walker Abu Sumayya from Tennessee, went straight into the Kuliya, as he had studied Arabic in some of the institutes in Egypt and was very fluent, but he needed to tighten up on the Nahu. So he came to Yemen for that, and while he went to the college right away, I went to the Arabic department. And then after that, getting my passport and coming back to America, I made a second attempt in 1999 for the mountains of Yemen, and I made it.
Alhamdulillah.
Sheikh al-Muqbil was alive, rahimahullah ta'ala. From amongst some of the students that was there during that time, Abdullah Makfi, Abu Abdurrahman Abdullah Makfi, his name, and he also is Jeff, and he's known by Abdullah Makfi, who was from Georgia, the area of Stone Mountain, but he lived with us in New Jersey during that time. As part of his life, he was in New Jersey, raised in New Jersey, or something to this effect. There with us from East Orange was Kadhalik Barakallahu Fikum, Abdul Hakim, Abu Rehana, who really was from, I think they say, the Bronx, LIB, or something like this. You know, this community there with Imam Talib. There with us also was Shaakir from Canada, Caucasian, there with us. Abu Walid from Baltimore, veteran from the military, was there. Abu Hassan Malik was there with us. Hassan Somali was there with us. Bilal al-Swedi from Sweden was there with us. We had a group of people there. Abdul Rahman, known as Abdul Rahman Tutu, who died in the last Hisar, who memorized all of the Bukhari, used to read it, and never missed a hadith. He was there. Many of the brothers were there during that time. Abu Zainab, known as Mikael, or Abdul Rahman from Raleigh, who walked with the sticks, who's still there. And many of the brothers that people know, they were there along with me during that time. So that was 1999, and I remember arriving that night, and Eid was the next day, and Sheikh Muqbil gave khutbah to Eid in the valley, and alhamdulillah, we had the benefit of that great day with the Imam. And some of the studies there during that year, we experienced with the Sheikh Sahib Imam Bukhari, particularly the explanation of Fath al-Bari after Salat al-Asr. This was typical of the Sheikh, that lesson was after Asr. And the Sheikh, he was teaching the Mustadrak, I remember, Hakam, a classical work, which he himself did commentary on the chains of those hadith, 5-volume work. Also the Sharh of Imam al-Nawawi, the explanation of Sahih Muslim, which was between Maghrib and Isha. And the Sheikh also would rotate Tafsir ibn Kathir from the early days when he arrived back to the match. He was teaching that to the likes of Sheikh Mustafa Adawi and Abu Mawjood and all of those other people, Sam Qudsi. They were the early students of Sheikh Muqbil. So that was a very old program teaching Tafsir ibn Kathir and the likes of the explanation of Sahih Bukhari. And alhamdulillah.
Can you tell us what would you say was your most difficult time in studying abroad?
The most difficult time studying abroad is a very, very complex question, because we had many things, challenges, obstacles to overcome. Being from America, the comfort you leave behind, the food, the drink, the language, your loved ones. For some people, everything and every day is hard. But I found that the more that you learn, if you have a goal in mind, and you have a level of sincerity, as you need that as a Muslim without tricking yourself, then inshallah it will become easier. And that was the thing that makes it hard to say what was the most difficult. But if I had to talk about some of the difficulties and rate them from 1 to 5, I would say in the beginning, not knowing the Arabic language. As 1999, and it was my first time there. And then at the end of 99, going to 2000, I went home, gathered more money. And by that time, Abu Hassan Malik had returned back, as I had a meeting with him in Camden, New Jersey, about some personal things. And going back to Yemen 2001 and 2, I had to gain a command of the language, because I remember sitting in the khutbah, and you hear the khutbah tahajjud, so you know that. And you talk about the Yemenis having a dialect and speaking fast. You do not understand much without the Arabic language. So you sit with your head down, you look around, try to stay awake, and then you just find the people standing up, because they didn't always say Aqimu Salah. But some people think you have to always make the dua. They always didn't make dua. Sometimes they just finish the point of the khutbah and stand. Sometimes they will make some dua and stand. Sometimes they'll make the statement Aqimu Salah. So, that was one of the hard periods, if I had to rate hard periods, not having a command fully of the Arabic language. And by the end of 2002, the command, alhamdulillah, it started to come. So that was one of the hardest times. Another, if I had to rate from the hardest times, which was the whole duration of being in the match, from 1999, 2001, 2002, again going back 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, the fitna of what we're dealing with now in America, and that is the fitna of the youth who think they know. That was one of the highlighted challenges and most difficult times, not only in Yemen, but in the whole scheme of seeking knowledge. And I give you some examples, just to go back. And this is only, to show how far back these problems are rooted and why it's so hard to eradicate them now. In 1999, we understood that the issue in East Orange, New Jersey, with our Imam Abdullah Tawfiq Abu Muslima, and the gathering that took place in 1997, 2 years prior, with a group of students in Sheikh Rabi' ibn Had Madkhali, had already taken place, obviously speaking. By the time 1999 came, the results of that meeting and what was the ingredients of it started to show. People were leaving, people were fragmented, the command was out that he should be left and boycotted, and on and on and on. So as we arrived in the match, one of the things that's part of this hard time was that, I found myself being interrogated by Hassan Malik, Hassan Somali, also Abu Khalil, known as Big Haas from Asbury Park, someone they had with them named Abu Bilal al-Swedi. And what they would do, they would, get us in the house, because again, you don't know when you're new where to go. You want to go with this brother and that brother, to learn the ropes. So we would pray in the small masjid that was in the marriage section, and you would have to walk 10 to 15 minutes. Inside of the match. You had sections. You had the masjid, the center of the match, and the marriage people were not living there during that time of Sheikh Mukbil, except one person who was handicapped. If you were a foreigner and you were married, you lived on the other side, which was like a 10, 15-minute walk. So they had to have a local small masjid so the people could pray the salat on time. Then if you need to go to dars, you walk over. So rather than praying and going to the dars of the sheikh, we would pray and then they would take us to their house. And they would interrogate us. Who are you with? You with Abu Muslim or you with Sheikh Rabia? And I remember one particular time I said to them, listen, we don't know who Sheikh Rabia is. And this was not defaming him or saying he's nobody, but we didn't. Remember, we barely know Arabic. We were kept, in East Orange, away from things, to be truthful with you. If we went to study, it was, on our own, no sponsorship. So we didn't know all of these things.
So at this time, Sheikh Mukbil was alive.
He was alive, 1999, there in the match. But we knew we wanted to learn, and we didn't want to be confused. So I said to them, me and Abu Hassan and Hassan Somali and Bilal Sweden and the rest, I said, listen, isn't it enough we left East Orange and we came here to the place of Ahlul Sunnah to learn? And in one of the meetings with Sheikh Mukbil, with the translator, he told us, the group that I came with, that that was sufficient for us to leave the issue of Abu Muslima, leave the issue of debating and talking with the brothers, seek ilm. This is what he told us. No. But they wouldn't stop way back then. And I say that to say that was a hard time because it was like a shadow. It followed you around, you know. And you couldn't get the hospitality and the hand that your brother should have given you because you didn't take a side. And what stemmed from that, even up until this day, if you were to possibly ask them about me, they will say, oh, he's a miskeen. Oh, he's, you know, la tasma ilayhi, or minhu shay. Don't listen to him, take nothing from him, because he has shubuhat. And he has shubuhat. The Prophet said, وَمَنْ وَقَعَ فِي شُبُهَاتٍ وَقَعَ فِي الْحَرَامِ. Whoever falls into that which is not clear, then in turn he falls into what's haram. But this clarity that the Prophet ﷺ is talking about takes time. It takes knowledge. And so if you're not upon knowledge, you can't likewise, on the other side of the stick, make a choice. We knew that. And we were told that by the Alama. But for some reason, they felt that what they wanted to administer to us was to be superseded over what Imam Mukbil told us. So that was one of the difficult times, if I had to talk about from 1 to 5, you know. Also, after the death of the Sheikh, Rahmatullah alayhi, and I remember that particular morning, the Sheikh, he died at Asr in Saudi Arabia. The Sheikh was sick. He left the match by request. The people begged him, say, Sheikh, you have to go get help, you're dying. He went to Sana'a. Sheikh Uthaymeen yashfa lahu bidukhul fi mamlakat al-Arabiyyah al-Saudiyyah. He interceded for the Sheikh to come in, because remember, the Sheikh was kicked out because of accusations that he was part of a riot to take over the Kaaba in the late 70s. So he was able to gain entry to Saudiya for treatment. They said the most skilled in this treatment is America or Germany. So they applied for him, America, and he entered America. After being in America, as you all know, and the Sheikh went back to Saudiya, then they sent him to Germany because he wanted to come back to America. America denied the visa. Then after being in Germany, Sheikh came back to Saudiya, and that's when he died in the year of 1421 on the Hijri calendar, and it was 2001. Rahimahullah. The point I'm making, the Sheikh, he died at Asr. I was sick that particular week in the house, and I gained some strength and said, I'm going out for Fajr. As I went out for Fajr, in the small masjid that I told you about, this at the opposite direction of the big masjid where the Durus were going, Sheikh Yahya used to lead the Fajr Salat there because he lived in that marriage section. And he's always been the Fajr man, that he leads the Salat al-Fajr. So I noticed after the Raka'ah, which was their second, being my first, and I had to make up, everyone was sitting with their gutra, and he hovered over their head, and you can hear, you know, small weeps and, you know, moaning and, you know, as if people were crying. Sheikh Yahya never got up and talked right away, as we were talking about the last night. It's permissible to just get up and talk. You don't have to sit, make dhikr, let the people make the tasbih, the tamheed, and then get up. No, sometimes you just get up and you say what you need to say. So he did that. And he said, you know, after saying Salatu Rasulullah and praising Allah, he said, the din al-baqin, the religion remained. He said, you know, Mat al-Nabiyyu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the din al-baqin. The Prophet died and the religion went on. Mat Abu Bakr Siddiq, the din al-baqin. Abu Bakr died and the deen kept going. And he was trying to tell the people, the Alama, the Imam, he died, but this religion is going forward. What's the connection to some of the difficult times that we had? What's the connection to the story I told about the problem between us, there, the Westerners, in the match? The connection to this is that Abu Hassan Malik had already left in 99. Hassan Somali, and he stayed behind, and then eventually he left. By the time the Sheikh died, they were not in the match, but there were advocates there during the time of Sheikh Mukbil, while he was alive, that you could not learn Aqidah to Sahihah fi Damaj. You could not learn the correct Aqidah Damaj. Wala yani manhaj sahih, neither correct methodology. The two things that you can learn there, ilm al-hadith, wa lughat al-Arabic, and the Arabic language. The science.
You're saying this is what they were claiming?
This is what they were promoting. This is what they were promoting. And they themselves would say you have to go to the Mamlaka, because this is what the Kibar ulama were. But, of course, they still acknowledge Sheikh Mukbil as a major scholar. But they made tanqis.
Explain that.
Markasihi wafihi. They belittled and they demoted the Sheikh yani, in this way. And they're one, to be honest with you, they're not the only ones. As this was known from some of the Yemenis, they would come and say this, you all don't teach fara'id, you all don't teach fiqh. And Sheikh Mukbil would tell them, listen, whoever wants to come benefit, فَلْيَتَفَضَّلْ. Whoever doesn't, hayya Allah man ja, come. Whoever doesn't, let him leave. So it wasn't just them. It didn't begin with them, but they were part of this problem from amongst us, the Westerners. So therefore, if you fast forward, they left now. And the Sheikh is still alive. Then the Sheikh, he travels. Then the Sheikh, he dies. From amongst the people that was with that group, when the Sheikh died at Asr, they said inside of the match, the ulama of the match has died, we're out of here. No more than the Sheikh, ready to sell their beds and their furniture, we're out of here. I mean, can you imagine that? When the whole village of the match was shut down, no drivers were leaving, no classes were being taught outside of the major classes, the other classes from the 40 or 30 classes from the other teachers, they shut down. Why? Because the village was in mourn. This is from the etiquettes of when someone dies, you mourn, especially someone like your parents or your sheikh. But because of these evil aqa'id, evil principles, these evil understandings that they had, they were ready to leave as soon as they heard the sheikh died in Saudi. Allah Musta'an. And they spread, the Hizbis have taken over the match way back then. So they were referring to who? Were they referring to just Sheikh Yahya during that time? Or were they referring to the likes of Sheikh Abdurrahman Adani? Or the likes of Sheikh Zayd Abu Sabi? Or the likes of Abu Amr al-Hajuri? Or who were they referring to when they said the Hizbis took over the match? So these were some of the difficult times there. And wallahi, I don't want to talk about this just to talk about it, to spread shame on the brothers. But wallahi, they have shamed themselves. And you have people that are saying they were the top students of Sheikh Mukbil, for example. Here right now in America. Hum yani a'la tulab Sheikh Mukbil. Like, how could this be when them themselves wouldn't even properly eulogize their own sheikh? When them themselves were inside of the match saying you can't learn Aqidah. What is the books of Aqidah, such as Kitab al-Tawheed, if you can't learn them in the match? What is the likes of al-Wasatiyah that we learned and studied if you can't in the match? What is the likes of Barakallahu Fikum, Sahih al-Bukhari? Is this not Aqidah, although it's a book of Hadith? What is the study of Tafsir ibn Kathir? Is it not يتضمن فيه يعني Aqidah? All of this, they were saying like a person chewing on bad roots from a tree way back then. And people need to know the pedestal that they have been put on throughout the West and other places is something that the people need to know is a mirage.
Okay. What do you say in terms?
Go ahead.
What do you say? Like, I'm just breaking them up when I.
Oh yeah, I've
want
seen
to
it.
order. What do you say? Like, which one of your teachers influenced you the most when you was there? Because you got many other scholars that you probably sit with, besides Sheikh Mukbil and Sheikh Yahya.
That's not so easy to answer because, as you understand, just as the knowledge does not absorb all at one time, your realities don't come to you all at one time as well. Sometime with maturity, time, era, you start to see things different than you did when you were in the midst of things. It's a combination, as all of those people that took the benefit and inherited the knowledge and the ways of Sheikh Mukbil, they reflect his teachings. Although people want to say other than that, they are a carbon copy of their Imam. Although they may have differences in some way because they are different. They're not him, they reflect him. And if I was to say anything, I would say I benefited from all of them on an equal basis because what I learned from all of them is what made me who I am today. From the shortcomings, from the mistakes, from the positive things, from their trials, all of them helped us make me who I am today. And, most of my time was with other than Sheikh Mukbil. I'm not going to fantasize like 1-900 fantasy, oh, I was with the Imam, and yeah, some people were with him, but that doesn't mean that you benefit from him because you were there, And likewise, other people, their due is important, to acknowledge that you benefited from those people as well. This is part of Imanat al-Ilmiyah. It goes with the knowledge that you give it its proper due, and you don't deceive a person or use the knowledge in this wrong way. So I benefit from all of them equally in the sense that it's part of what made me and who I am today. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best.
I see that you're part of you have an organization, or you have a markaz called Markaz Safina to Nuh. Would you care to explain what that is and how it came about?
The Markaz Safina to Nuh, it started out in 2012. And some people wanted me to do some dawah work in the city of Charlotte, North Carolina, but this issue that we're dealing with, again, people wanted to control, people feeling that they are the Salafiyah. Anyone else can't be the Salafiyah unless they're approved by them or sanctioned by them. We faced that problem in Charlotte. No. And the brothers, wallahi, they were masakeen, wallah musta'an, in their adab, in their knowledge, but they had reputation because who they were aligned with. So part of the result of dealing with them was that I would find another way to use my time, to use my energy, and an outlet to teach outside of those people that were making problems in Charlotte. So I started to teach on the phone, and my wife, she said, and she's going to like this part, she's watching. She said, why don't you, open up some type of, thing on the internet by which the people can hear you from other places. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, open up some type of social media that when you do it, the people can hear you on the phone somewhere else or, like this. I said, that sounds good. So we started to develop, a way to broadcast the classes at that time. And we actually, from there, made a YouTube channel. And it was 2 classes a week. One of them from Poland Mufid, Sheikh of the book Sheikh Muhammad al-Wahhab al-Sabi. And another one of them, I believe, was the Medina book. I'd like to say book 1. And from that, people started to listen there in the Charlotte area. And one of my friends there, he said, you need to put your resume in to some places. They need an imam in my hometown, which was a place called Asheville, North Carolina, in the mountains. And I said, man, I'm not going to put my resume in. It's people that have much more knowledge and time than me. I'm just going to be patient. He said, no, man, I'm telling you, don't underestimate yourself. Put it in. So I put it in. And during that time, I was having retinal detachment, so I had to go for a surgery. And after the surgery, they told me they wanted me to come, do khutbah, do a class, that I was a candidate. And we went, and Allah wrote for me to get that job as an imam. And from that, we really started to build the markets with classes on the YouTube and doing some talks also over the phone with the conference call. And it evolved to now where we actually teach out of the house. We attempted to get a facility, but it's not that easy in Durham. Things are very expensive. Parking is very inadequate. And so we've settled for teaching inside of the house, which is our markets, and in other people's houses. And I travel by request. And so it's kind of like online, on wheels, and also a local institute. And we hope one day to give a better service, as we do a variety of things, from counseling, hearing people's problems, being awake at night, all of those services.
Right.
We sometimes deal with issues of ruqya. We deal with youth services, mentoring youth, because the youth have a host of problems these days, from drugs and sex and no outlet, no outreach. So alhamdulillah, we pray that Allah accept from us something from our efforts, and bless Marcus about
Now, if you could give any advice to the Muslims living here in the West to be able to practice their religion, what would it be?
The first thing I would say, وَتُوبُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ يَا أَيُّهَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Naam, that all of the Muslims have to make tawbah, as Allah said, all of you, all you who believe. وَتَبَارَكُ وَتَعَالَى say, يَا أَيُّهَا الْفَاسِقِ يَا أَيُّهَا الْمُبْتَدِئِ يَا أَيُّهَا الضَّالِّ. No, يَا أَيُّهَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. God didn't name a person an innovation or a sinner or one who's off it. No, he said, all you who believe. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ذكر فيما أخرجه في صحيح مسلم المؤمن قوي خير أحب إلى الله من المؤمن الضعيف ثم قال في نهاية هذا قول وفي كل خير. So the strong believer is more beloved. More beloved shows that everyone has some of this love, because Allah said more beloved. اسمه تفضيل يدل على يعني أكثر فيه. Shows that something has the most. While there's still a minus, we will deal with this, what's called ismu tafdeel. So Allah said the strong believer. And the ulama, they mention here, قوي قد يكون في الجسم والعلم لكن أهم ماذا في علم وبإيمان. That strong here could denote your physical body, and it can denote your knowledge, but more importantly, your iman, your knowledge, because without that, your body can be strong all it wants. You won't succeed. And so here, Tabarak wa Ta'ala's Prophet said, the strong Muslim, the strong believer, which this is the meaning of mu'min, the believer, either Muslim, Islam, he has accepted, but iman is not entered his heart, does not have the vigor and the Islamic spirit and the enhancement of deeds to push him to do more deeds, or he's reached that level where he's tasted the sweetness of deeds, and that's most of what he wants to do. Prophet said, that one who's strong in that regard is more beloved and better to Allah than the weak one from amongst you. He said, but in all of them, in both of them meaning, there's some good. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhal mu'minun, in this ayah, Tub ila Allah, Ya ayyuhal mu'minun, he's talking about the strong and the weak, the male and the female, the Arab, the non-Arab. Yani, the ones who are drowning in sin, the ones who have a little bit of sin, the ones who feel that they're above everything, and those who feel that they're below everything. And this is the key, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already described the Prophet sallam, قَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ, that the Prophet sallam is the best one for you to copy. Absolutely. لمن كان ماذا يرجو الدنيا لا أبدا. For the one who wants dunya, no, Allah did not say that. لمن كان يريد الريال نفسه, the one who wants to be seen or have a spotlight for himself. No, Allah said لمن كان يرجو الله ويوم الآخر. For the one who he's craving, he's longing, he's yearning for Allah wa ta'ala on that day and the day of recompense. وذكر الله ماذا كثيرا وذكر من العلماء في هذه الآية أن هذا واو الحال. Some scholars say this wow is not a conjunction, but it shows the condition of a person who is following the Prophet, yearning to meet Allah, that he's remembering Allah much. Hakala. So, and this is the key for us. They used to say, and they still probably say, as I have a background in substitute counseling, they used to say people, places, and what? Things. Hakala. And that for them was sobriety. That for them was Tawbah. You know, until they made the doorknob the higher power, or the teddy bear, you know, they confined it in those things after relapsing. But, you know, they themselves understand a sense of Tawbah. How is it that we don't understand that? So the key thing for us, we have to be truthful about all of this that we're involved in, what's wrong about it, what's, gain, conniving about it. As you know, wallahi, people were slick in Jahiliyyah. So they thought. But we're going to come to Islam and out-slick Allah. You know, people were pimps and pushers and whores and, gigolos and gangsters and con mans. But we're going to do all of that now in the name of La ilaha illallah.
La ilaha illallah.
We're never going to make tawbah. Wallahi, we're never going to make tawbah. So the key thing here is the tawbah that Allah wa ta'ala mentioned. And this Prophet ﷺ that he told us to follow, he himself said, Wallahi inni atubu ilallah wa astaghfir inni atubu ilallah wa inni astaghfir Allah wa atubu ilayhi miyata marra. Now, hakada, he said, verily, I repent to Allah and seek His forgiveness 100 times in a day. فَأَسْأَلَكُمْ بِاللَّهِ الْآنِ كم مرة لكم في استغفار في أسبوع ليس في يوم. So I'm going to ask you now, the audience, هنا في Philadelphia and كذلك في نيويورك وفي Washington DC في أي ولاية كان هنا في أمريكا, from any state, how many times do you seek Allah's forgiveness and Tawbah? The Prophet said in a day. How many in a week for you? No, better than that, let's do fi shahr kamil. In 1 month, come in. How many times? How many? Prophet said in a day, 100 times. While Tabarak wa Ta'ala said about him, what? Now, how could this not be when he's making Tawbah like this? Don't we see it? Our demise is that we're not making Tawbah. We don't even feel bad about this. I mean, look at the chaos that's all over the world right now. All people can say is, how can you support the innovator and talk about the Salafi? Allahumma musta'an. That in itself is a sin. Because Allah said for us all to repent. The one who's on the sunnah, the one who's mubtadi, the one who's a fasik, the one who's kadib, the sadiq, talk about Allah. If we just took that part, wallahi, we can move forward. But we hard-headed. As they said, the nigga head is hard and Hajr Aswad, hard in the black stone. We're hard-headed, man. Like they used to say, they don't believe fat men greasy. Wallahi. Grease all over the place. They said, that ain't grease. That's glue. Allahumma musta'an.
No.
So we have a mental dysfunction here that خرب ديننا وبيوتنا وكذلك أقولنا is destroying everything. Our deen, our houses, even is eating away at our own minds. And the Prophet he mentioned in the hadith of Hudayf ibn Yaman, it said صف لنا يا صف ماذا صف لنا يا رسول الله. You just describe us, these people who you're telling us, they're going to come waving the flag, sunnah, 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 but they're going to be doing somebody else's sunnah. Prophet said this, and he was not talking about anybody except us, the Muslim. He said, قوم يَسْتَسْنُونَ بِغَيْرِ سُنَّتِ. People come to establish a sunnah. They were يَدَّعُونَ أَنَّ هَذَا مِنَ النَّبِي وَلَكِنْ لَيْسَ مِنْ النَّبِي. They will claim this from the Nabi, but it's not.
They were claiming that it's from the Prophet.
It's from the Prophet, but it's not. Yeah. So the Prophet ﷺ started to describe them, but it wasn't enough. He said, no, tell us really like who they are, we can see them. You said that we're going to call the people with something that's not your sunnah. And whoever answered them, they're going to be in the fire, because the dua ila abwab jahannam. They're going to call you to the brink of the fire. Man ajabu qadhafu fih. Whoever answered them, you're going to be in the fire. Today, whoever answered them, you down. Whoever answered them, you on the hot. Whoever answered them, you get a third or fourth wife. We might even slide a fifth one in, change the Sharia for you if you're with us. Hafsalam said, whoever answered them, they're going to be in the fire. I said, no, that's not enough. Give us more details, because this thing is serious. Describe them to us, O Rasulullah. Are they monkeys? Are they apes? Are they jinn? Tell us really like what's happening here. The Prophet ﷺ said, Hum min jildatina. In this tafsir, or explanation I should say, in the Sahih Muslim, Imam an-Nawawi mentioned that it's two meanings to jildatina. Either that means they're from our makeup, meaning they're from the human being, or they're from the Arabs. Because remember, the Prophet was sent to mankind, but really, did he go to Europe? No. Did he go to China? No. He stayed with his people, the Arabs, those who could understand him, those who could relate, which is another point. And I don't want to go too far. Anytime you try to give a service to somebody who looks like you, now it's nationalism. You're not excluding the other people. If you exclude the other people, or you say we're better than the other people, now this is nationalism. But everybody, including the Prophet, catered in addition to everybody else, to their own people, gave a service to them, feared for them. If we do it, now we like fulan, Allah Muslim. This is mush ma'qul. It's not someone who has a mind, you know what I'm saying? So the point we're going back to, they said describe them to us. The Prophet said they're from jiddatina, either meaning from the human being, Bani Adam, so you will have no mistakes about them. It's not a ghost. They're us, the humans, or they're from the Arabs. Then called the ayat, he said, the Prophet said after this, and Hudayfa said, because he's the narrator, the Prophet said, وَقُلُوبُهُمْ مَاذَا شَيَاطِينَ. They have bodies like us. They eat like us. They drink like us. They sleep like us. They make fitna like us. But guess what? Their hearts are the hearts of the devils. Why? It's Sahih and Sahih Muslim. It's in the Sahih Muslim. So what are we going to do with that? You know what I'm saying? And wallahi, my advice, after Tawbah, Barakallahu Fikum, that the people do not go back and forth with this. The people have to handle this. Let them handle it. As me, I'm not in Philadelphia. But the brothers honored me and asked me to come to do an interview. I was not coming here to get involved. Like my 2 cents matter. I got to say something. I was in the marriage and niggas tripping. I'm going to bring the job. No, none of that. We pray the brothers that have ikhlas here, Maktabta Ibn Taymiyyah, and other than them. But the people who have the ability, the people who have the most right, let them deal with it. Everybody else stay out. You in New York, you have nothing to say. You know what I'm saying? And I'm hearing like people, and I don't care about calling no names, like Abu Yusuf. I call names. As they say, I used to say in East Orange, I wasn't no punk in Jahiliyyah. I'll call some names. Y'all call names.
Well, that's
So the point, but people, passing names around and saying no, stay out of it. If you have an effect, Abu Yusuf, teach the people in New York, stay out of it. This is what we've been told about ulama. If you have an effect, person in Newark, and he teach the people, stay out of it. Even Sheikh Rabi'a in 2013, when he gave that 8-minute and 20-second talk where he said, وَأَنَا أَكْرَهَ هَذَا كَلَامٍ, I hate to be called Imam Jarh Ta'deel. What did he say? He said, you can't stop. If you have some ilm, teach what you have, leave it. We asked, did the people do that until now? No. They didn't do it. So this, even for myself, we're not getting involved. We don't need to make no talk. We don't need to say something. No, we make dua for all of the people from both sides. But know there's a lot of blood on the knives. People have been wounded. Like myself for 10 years. I've been fighting with these people, but I don't post stuff and publish stuff just so people can see, look, I'm getting down, look, this is what they get. No, I say what I have to say, when it comes to defending myself, and this includes my family, because every time someone attacks me, they attack my family. Every time someone attacks me, they attack my close ones. So you have to. But up and above that, kuf adha, kuf ana adha, stop, hold up from harming one another. So that's my second advice. People don't turn this into a matinee or a state fair. This is a serious issue, and people can be harmed over this physically. We're already harmed physically from our sins, from lack of brotherhood, hating one another. People don't want to marry one another. We can't put monies together. We can't even grow roses outside in the dirt together. We want more harm. Do you want what is more inferior over what's superior? This in itself is kufr. As the ayah Allah Ta'ala was talking to Musa's people, that he told them one thing they want was inferior. Allah said, what do you want? Do you choose what's inferior, what's superior? Listen, we gave you what you want, now look. It's kufr. So that's my second piece of advice. People who don't need to be involved, don't get involved. And thirdly, wallahi, be patient. And we know patient means to stay with obedience. Stay away from disobedience. And know that Allah decrees this. Maybe it's for our own purification. Wallahu musta'an.
Our last question, before we mention our last question, in terms of addressing issues privately, and in terms of, people being affected worldwide, it's not just here in Philly. Yes, as far as to address the issue about, why don't we contact the brothers privately? These is where people are concerned. And yes, if we can, that's a perfect world. We got to be honest. In a perfect world, this can happen. In a perfect world, meaning if we're dealing with people who really want rectification. If you're going to deal with people who not want to allow you to come to them and actually really sit down without a bunch of shouting, arguing, accusations, and not really getting to the bottom of it, then right now it's not just about them. Most people think that these videos really just about them. No, it's really about waking you guys up. It's really about waking the masses up, having them start to think and question in terms of saying, okay, that's not right, this is not right. It's not just about them, because they're not coming to the table. You already told them to come to the table, right? The ulama already told them. There's plenty of reports that they did, but they're not doing that. And everybody keeps saying it's two sides. Let's get one thing straight. There isn't two sides. There is one side that is, saying that these individuals are that name calling, they're off of it. That's what it is. The other side is not saying anything. They're just trying to teach knowledge. But they're being dragged in it through their names. People are being made to take stances based on names. We have been made to make stances on Shadeed Muhammad. We have been made to make stances on Tahir White. We have been made to make stances on Muhammad Munir. We have made to make stances on anybody, Akil Ingram, any individual, Ali Davis. Why are we made to make stances on that? If that is a personal squabble. And in reality, Sheikh Rabi'a never said, and they still have yet to produce this, and I keep saying this, think for yourself. Sheikh Rabi'a have never once said that Tahir White is from Ahlul Bidah. The Sheikh had to produce evidence.
No.
There's no scholar that actually said that. So if that's not the point, then we need to stop. Please. We're not making these videos. We're not the other side. We're not acting like a bunch of women sitting there talking about people. We're trying to wake up the masses. Wake up and demand more, and respect yourself, and respect your children, respect your cities, and do as the brother just advises. Tawbah. All of us need to make Tawbah. None of us above it. The ayat is clear. Allah said, Ya ayyuhal mu'minun. He included everybody. It was a beautiful point, a beautiful advice. And the second advice, alhamdulillah, as he said, for respectively in your lands and stuff like that, if you're not here, then inshallah ta'ala, your input is not really needed. You have to actually be here. You know what I mean? This fitna is blocking us and preventing us from really moving on. It really is. And my last question I wanted to ask you, what is your advice for the Muslims here in the West on how they should receive their brothers Tahir White and Muhammad Munir? What is your advice on that?
Alhamdulillah, al-alameen, salatu wa salam ala rasulil kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa sallam tasliman wa ba'd. I want to take the first thing you asked me, and that is for those who say you should contact those brothers in private. Allah musta'an. It always seems to be what's called the double standard when it comes to these issues. Yes, just like the issue, and I have to talk about this because we have many cases where people have been accused. Abu Hassan was accused many times. I was accused, at least once. Nelson was accused. Dawood Deeb was accused. Sam was accused. Many people accused about doing things with the private parts that, are prohibited with different people close or far from you. And we know that they said it's about our mother, Ummahat al-Mu'minat, Aisha. This is something that will never go away because the people already have a reserve for these type of things in their heart. So we know this. But there's a protocol that Allah Azza wa Jal has made clear in His Quran when it comes to these type of things. And that protocol is for everybody. It can't be that it's for you because you my mans, but it's not for him because he not my mans. And we see this every day. So likewise with this issue, Barakallahu fikum, why is it that you guys have to go to them? Why can't they come to you? And if you go to them, like you said, if it's going to be something that's definitely a lost cause, people are going to be niggardly, people are going to be insulting, people don't know how to be patient and respectful, then it becomes prohibited to go to them. But the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Man yara minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi, fa in lam yastati' fa bilisanihi, fa in lam yastati' fa biqalbihi, wa dhalika madha adaf al-iman." Lazim al-zulm. You have to at some point say something. And wallahi, all of the ulama have said these things before. Have said that they quote them, in their books, they're written, but we are playing with these issues. We're playing with these issues like dominoes and checkers and Uno, and this is the problem. If you don't have ikhlas and sidq between you and your Lord, then how can you have it between the creation? And this is the problem. So if there's a real opportunity, it doesn't take 20 years for that opportunity to meet with people in private and fix things. No, this is a thing that we say is muta'ammidan. It's purposely. They don't want to fix it. But the meaning behind this, why don't you fix it, is why don't you leave us alone? You see what I'm saying? This is the meaning. Why don't you contact those brothers, and fix it in private? Leave us alone. Let us do as we like. You see? So that part is never going to go anywhere. We have to stay focused. And if we see that it's not going to be of any benefit, then we be patient and we work and we tolerate the harm. But wallahi, if that's the only way to get some results, and you have the power, you have the shawqa, you have the power, you have the ability, then it's permissible to go forth. And this is what we see as people, again, have been hurting for well over 20 years. The baby can't stay in the stomach forever. It has to be delivered. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. We ask Him tabarak wa ta'ala for His sincerity, His help, and His safety. As for Sheikh Tahir White, ونقول هذا صراحا كما سبق من علماء أجلة. I say that proudly, clearly, without any discrepancy. He has been called by lofty ulama Sheikh Tahir White. Firstly, let me ask you, what is the meaning of Sheikh? من يجيب عن هذا السؤال؟ إيش المعنى الشيخ في اللغة؟
يعني فيه معنيين.
طيب ومنهم؟
نعم كبر في السن. ويعني عالم في العلم.
أيوة طيب. وان شئت فتقول ذو العلم. وان شئت فتقول يعني ذو علم. حتى يشمل يعني ولد صغير يعني تاس من عمره 9 من عمره قد يكون يعني شيخ. أي ذو العلم. ليس بمعنى يعني درجاته يعني فوق يعني غير، لا، أنه يعني ذو العلم يعني حفظ القرآن وعنده يعني متون وعنده يعني أساس. هذا يعني نوع من يعني المعنى يعني شيخ. The brother, he said, it has two meanings, sheikh. One, someone's age, and number two, someone who has reached the level like alim. But I'm saying also, if you like, as the ulama have mentioned this, and they draft this from meanings of the hadith, you could say the one who has some superiority and knowledge, even if he be young. Like Abdullah ibn Abbas, in the famous tafsir that Ja'a Nasrullahi wal Fath. He was with the Mashaykh al-Badr, meaning Abu Bakr, Umar, those seniors. But no one was able to say the meaning, the underlying meaning of that surah except him.
He was young.
And he was فيه اختلاف. قيل أنه كان ثلاثة وقيل أنه كان خمسة وأرجع أنه كان 5 سنين. That he was 5. Some say 3. The most predominantly and correct, he was 5, based on when they left and when the war was and when this happened. Mm-hmm. So if a person is 9, he memorized the Quran and he knows the Quran. Not he memorized the Quran like some of the people do today in the hip schools. They memorize, but they have no understanding. He memorized the Quran with some basic understanding. He is considered sheikh. Like when the Hisar of the match, the second time, and they had a young boy on the television program, Sheikh Yasser. He was on the phone in the match where they were bombing, and they gave him the floor. And wallahi, when I watched this, I cried like a baby, because he himself, he said, we are being bombarded right now. No food is coming in, nobody's going out, but we're patient. They said, Kam Umar ya Sheikh Yasser. They said, Ana tis'a sanin, with a Yemeni voice. So I'm 9 years old. And said, Kam hafadham in the Quran. He was quiet because he was shy. They said, Sheikh Yasser? He said, Naam. He said, Kam hafadham in the Quran. So hafadha kullu. He said, I memorized all. And then they said, what other things have you done? He started mentioning, we memorized Tufat al-Atfal, Raba'in Nabawiyah, and on and on. He said, but we've been interrupted because of this war. Then they said, give us some advice. And he started ripping. And in the end, he was making dua against the Houthi. Nasallahu yudamirahum. وأن لا يبارك فيهم. I mean, and this was Sheikh Yasser, 10 years old. You understand?
9 years old.
No. 9 years old. So, why are we saying this? Because sometimes the brothers say, like for example, how can you call somebody says about me before I call him Sheikh Ukkaasha? How do you call him that? He's not Sheikh. I have to be Sheikh Fawzan. I have to be Sheikh Abdul Muhsin. I have to be Allah Mustaan Sheikh Hamad Had Madkhalin. I have to be Luhaydan. Nah. هذا ليس معنى شيخ منفردا. This is not the only meaning of sheikh, you see. The second thing is that we got to stop playing games. If they have said, and I'm saying they because it's mutawatirun, multiple narrations, that this man spent 21 years in one place working, not playing, not being involved in fitna, working. We're talking about Sheikh Tahir. And he's not only just teaching in the Prophet's masjid and chair, but he's on committees. One of them is Dawah committee, which means he can give fatwa in the Mablaka, like some of those people for Hayat al-Kibar ulama. Which one of us have achieved that? And they say, well, I don't care, where he's teaching. It doesn't make a difference where he's at. What did the Prophet said about the Salat in the Prophet's masjid? Kam min al-ajr, alf al-ajr. But you said it doesn't matter where a person is. It doesn't matter where a person is, but the Prophet said in that place, where one salat is 1,000 reward. كيف يكون هذا? Allah musta'an. And wallahi, we are struggling here to the point that we need hayat al-kibar ulama, we need da'wat iftah here in America. We need it. Why? Because we have all kinds of things.
We need a permanent committee of fatwa here.
And wallahi, for those who tried to say he's calling to himself, wallahi, Sheikh Muqbil used to say it all the time. You can go to his Tuft al-Majib, al-As'ila Hadir wal-Gharib. He used to say, Kullana nakun ulama insha'Allah. Ay na'am. What does this mean? From all of the different representatives from around the world, insha'Allah, tahsil al-ilm lakum wa madha an tarji'u ila biladikum. Gather this knowledge, you go back to your country to do what? Play chess, play backgammon, sip lemonade? No, to work. كون يعني ماذا كما قال يعني عبد الله بن عباس بن البخاري قال ماذا كونوا ماذا ربانيين. هذا هو يعني عالم ابتعاء يعني بارك الله فيك. نعم في كتاب العلم مع الصغار قبل الكبار. How can you start with what's small and work your way up except you're a person of ilm. والسفهاء يريدون يبدأ من أسفل أسفل. I mean من أعلى إلى أسفل. They're ignorant. They want to start from the top and work their way down. You want to go and get on at the 11th floor and go to the 5th floor. How are you going to do that? You got to start at the 1st floor and go 2, 3, 4, 5. No. Cat want to go to the 11th floor like, you know, Pink Panther and the thing you say, meet me, and fall to his death because he want to start at the top.
Wow,
you know, yeah, Allah understand. What kind of fikr is this? Like fikr is a stupid understanding. So this is what I understand. And Aslanaki, barakallahu fikum, if the brothers were yani, extreme Sufi, or they were yani, Allah musta'an, Rafidi, or Ithna Ashra Imam, or Fatimiyya, Ismaili, all these groups, akhi, then we can say that. But Aslan, all the people's aqidah and manhaj was the same. They forgot that all of their familiarity and connections in the early days with the Mashaykh came through Sheikh Tahir White.
SubhanAllah.
They forgot that. They don't want to tell nobody that.
No,
and I remember, after Sheikh Mukbil died, rahimahullah ta'ala, Abu Wais was mad. Remember they did the conference. What was the title of this conference? It has something to do with being ease or being peace or something. La hawla wa la quwwata billah.
Where was that?
You know it. It has something to do with being easy or man.
Stop the Discord or something?
Yeah. Hakada, barakallahu fikum. Why do you think that was the topic? Because they was tripping so bad, the shuyukh wanted to put it on them. And I remember, wallahi, Abu Hassan was supposed to go on that trip. Dawud Deeb was supposed to go on that trip. Dawud Deeb went, Abu Hassan became sick all of a sudden. Why? Because he already knew what time it was. And Sheikh Tahir, yani, interceded for them. Said, no, Sheikh, they're good brothers. Dawud Deeb, mashallah, tabarak wa ta'ala, yeah, you have some akhtar. But they would gather his mistakes back then to make him, you know, in the poorhouse. Said, no, he's our elder. They're not intentionally like this. You know, the brothers are trying to fix stuff. You know, Abu Hassan, Malik and them, I'm sure they're working, trying to fix stuff. He covered for them. They forgot all of that. Allah Mustaan. So now you fast forward, and everybody on his muqtadi. Okay, let me go back to Shadid Muhammad. Hakada, barakallahu fikum. I can't talk about this, but I'm making a point. When Shadid came home, and he started to work, me and Shadid have a relationship from way back. But we weren't the close, even though we had a relationship. So one of the things that made our relationship not close, he was with them talking about me in the early 2000s. Okay, I forgive him now, and he forgive me, you know, because I said some stuff. On one of the occasions, I called him on the phone. It was in Patterson, Imam Hamza's masjid. They put my name on the flyer, Abu Sa'd. Somebody here in Philly, his name was Abu Sa'd. They made the mistake on the flyer and put Abu Sa'd instead of Sa'ud. I told you my name was Sa'ud first. So people didn't know it was me. Had they knew it was me on the flyer, they would have pounced from Jump Street. Now back then, nobody considered Hamza Abdul Salam to be Salafi. Nobody. They wrote him off. He's miskeen. He don't know Arabic. And Hamza's a long-time loyal friend of mine. So I went, gave the khutbah, and they had some people figured out it was me. Was sent from Masjid Rahmah to sit in my khutbah to see what I was going to say. Why? Because again, from those days in the 90s in the match, because I didn't say I'm with Sheikh Rabi over Abu Muslima on blindness, they whisper, he's miskeen, he had problems in Aqeedah. What problems in Aqeedah? Hatu burhanakum kuntu sadiqeen. Ta'alaw ila kalimat sawa bayna wa baynakum. Bring it right now. They never brought anything. I challenged them. I challenged all of them. Bring it. They could not bring anything. But they whispered this. So they had some spies, man, sitting in the masjid to see what I was going to say. I gave the khutbah. I talked about the death of the Prophet and I used the deen al-Baqir. And the whole masjid, we cried. After the khutbah, you hear a bunch of voicemails on the phone to Hamza and it was Shadid. Why he let me speak, why let me on the member. Well, we didn't have that relationship, but they came from them, home, from those poisonous thorns that we're talking about now. That's now saying he's Ikhwani, he's this. Allah Mustana. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not the type of person who's going to dog him because we had something bad. How could a mithlo Umar Quinn? That's the last fiho. May Allah cure him. Allah, he dogged me. Then when I went to defend myself, they spread the old St. Louis gangsters got his pistols and this and that. Akhi, I'm not on no jahiliyyah like that. I'm going to tell you, Akhi, we should fear Allah. If you try to bring some noise to me, I ain't forget where I came from. But that's not the first thing I'm going to put before you like you do me. Names and slanders and lies and aggression. No, they spread that. But when Umar got sick, when he had the siege or whatever they claim and failed, who called the hospital? Not brag, I'm showing you what is Salafiyah. I called the hospital, checked on him, talked with the nurse. And then I was patched to the room and talked to his wife and said, this Ukkaasha, how's he doing? The brother's asking about North Carolina and Syracuse, New York. May Allah heal them, give you our patience. Akhi Allah Muslim, what's my point? I'm not going to dog somebody because of what they did to me if they're from Ahlul Sunnah. I'm not going to dog them. So likewise, why am I going to dog Shadid? I don't have nothing. I don't listen to his talks. I don't read his books. I happen to have an opinion that he has more knowledge than all of them that's talking about him. But I don't read his books. So why am I going to defend him? Why am I going to say what's in his book? And no, let somebody else do that. It's better for me to be quiet than to involve myself in those affairs. But Aslan, wallahi, all of it's some garbage. As the New Yorkers say, garbage. Because this doesn't happen overnight. No. But it happened overnight. 1 minute he was the man in the spotlight. On the minbar at Masjid Rahma. They were helping him, giving him money. So much so somebody said, man, it's like we taking care of our son. He's overseas. They helping him with this and that, jealous. Because he deserved to be helped during that time. They don't want the brothers to send him money, want him to starve. Now, all of a sudden, he's the biggest fitna ever hit the Salafis. Come on. You got to be kidding me out here. But if you say that about them, you're attacking the Salafis. If you say that about them, you're trashing the dawah. Akhi, ish hada. You see. Same thing with Muhammad Munir. Wallahi, I finally met him about 8 months ago. Masjid Wasatiyah, they had a program. I went to benefit Sheikh Ali Davis, Abu Sajid, and he was there. And and then the question answer, I asked him. He said, "No, we should be asking you." But and the reality is, no. I'm asking who has the knowledge. Even though you're younger than me, even though you feel I know more than you, that might be the opposite. The point is, we benefit from one another. So how am I going to jump on the bandwagon because somebody else is saying he's this and that? No, man. So we got to stop this, And I wish somebody, no, I'm not going to say I wish. Stop for love too, because now it's skipper. But I hope nobody says something about me. Because Ibn Taymiyyah, that was for everybody. And even Sheikh Muhammad Madkhali told you, if you are a people of Salafiyah and the innovators who are not called into their innovation, call you to their masjid to teach the haqq, then you go. And you take your Salafi brothers with you. Why? He said, because if you don't go, they're going to take over. Yeah, it's recorded. Muhammad Madkhali. It's recorded. They asked him. It's recorded. And the audio is there. The written thing is there. Salafi ink is there. Abu Yusuf and them know it because they were the ones who went and asked them. But now what happens? They from the same people who spread around. Don't go to this masjid, not Salafi. Come on, you playing games. I'm playing games. How you think the dawah was spread in Yemen? The place was Shia in the north. We just listened to the life of Sheikh Muqbil the other day when we out. And the Sheikh was telling how he went to the masjid after he came home the first time, because he went to Saudi, came home, then he went the second time and came home and built what we know to be the match. The Marcus the match. So he came home and wanted to give dawah. They threatened to beat him. They wanted to beat him to a post, kill him. He goes to a masjid in Sada, Shia masjid. They plan, let him talk. Because while he talking, we got a bomb that's connected to the mic. While he talking, we're going to blow the mic up and kill him. So the sheikh in the masjid, the guy that's behind the makeshift wall over there, is nervous, He hit the wrong wires and the bomb blew him up instead of the sheikh.
Allahu Akbar.
People went out the building screaming frantically. The sheikh at the mic saying, La takhaf, don't be afraid. You know, hum alladhina yuridunani, they want me. But before that, the sheikh was being driven out the masjid because some people didn't want to hear his dawah, and they didn't know it was a plot to let him speak to kill him. So as he was going to the door, he said, the Askari said to him, Ya Mukbil, Tarid and Taktub. He was trying to say, you want to speak, but because the literacy level in Yemen, he said, do you want to write? And the sheikh laughed. Oh my God, you read and Taktub. That's how sheikh used to laugh. What's the point? It was a Shia masjid. The whole Yemen was Shia in the north, and in the south, one time communists ruled, the British ruled. So if this is a qaida, you only go to a masjid where the people are upon Salafiyah. How the dawah spread in Yemen, man?
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Come on, we playing games, you understand me? And we're not saying, like Abu Hassan, the guy say this, someone on the road now, may Allah forgive me and make me understand. See, I say this. When he was talking about the life of Sheikh Mukbil in Masjid Owen, he did a nice job. I listened. Again, I'm being fair. But when he wanted to highlight what he was doing and the boys that was there with him and this and that, you know, he would do that stuff. So he started to talk about how the sheikh was there working at night and seeking ilm in the daytime. Now remember, the reason Sheikh Mukbil left Yemen and went to Saudi in the beginning because he was poor, dirt poor. He went to work so that they can eat. You know, like a man got to feed his family, cats will take care of their family, so they'll know about that. You got to take care of your family. Sheikh, he went, and then he asked, what books do I read? Because the sheikh said that he always loved the ilm. He said that. أنا كنت محبا لطالب العلم منذ كنت صغيرا. He said, I used to love the ilm from a young boy. لكن ما كان أحد يعلمنا هنا في سعدة إلا ماذا علي أحسن البشر ومن تركه فقد كفر علي مدينة باب الجنة أو كما قال. He's all of these stupid statements. Whoever disbelieves in Ali, he's a kafir. Ali is the door of the Jannah. Whoever felt like they said, we don't have nobody to learn from. So of course he go to Saudi. He gonna ask somebody, what will we read around here? He gave him the books that they recommended. None of them was Usul Thalatha. For example, now people say, oh, if you don't teach Usul Thalatha, you're against Muhammad al-Wahhab. Man, how can you say that about a cat who live, eat, drink these books? How many times I studied them in Damascus? 3 times with different shuyukh. Memorized them. Fatul Majid Shur Kitab al-Tawheed. Study it twice. One with Abu Abdullah Baghdadi from Baghdad, and one with Sheikh Muhammad Hizam. Anwar Smith was my contemporary from Newark, Jersey City in the class. We memorized all these books. Barakallahu Fik, not bragging, but how somebody will say we hate the one we spend our time, our sweat, we peeing green stuff, skinny as a crackhead, because we hate somebody's works? Allah Mustan, this doesn't make sense. No. So back to the point, Barakallahu Fikum, Mada, when he was teaching Abu Hassan in Pittsburgh from what he wanted to present about life Sheikh Mukbil, he got to a point where he said, look at the Sheikh, and this is the way of our Salaf. This is the manhaj, Ikhwan. He said the Sheikh, he worked at night and saw ilm in the daytime, so he would not have to take money from the Hizbis. He said it is not proper for us to take money from the Hizbis under no uncertain terms. Listen, the Sheikh used to say that you can take money from them if there's no shurut wala qaid. No restrictions and conditions.
SubhanAllah.
He used to say this all the time. If there's no conditions on your restrictions, you could take money from them. But he said it's better not to. Because if they give you the money and you become hooked, then you'll become someone who's going to fall into their trap. But the Sheikh said you could take money from them. So he's talking about, follow me, the Sheikh working at night to earn his money, so he don't have to take money from the Hizbis and learning in the daytime. Then he says, there was a brother who asked me this question: can we take money from the Hizbis? He said, I told him no. Don't take money from the Hizbis.
We got to wrap up a little bit.
He said, then I went, he said, then he went, pardon me, he went and asked another student, and the student said, sometime you got to take money from the Hizbis. Then he paused for a minute. He said, and that other student, Juan, was Tahir White. See, that was after they already said, leave him alone. Yani, he's the best from amongst you. So my point is that, again, we're playing games with this religion. And while
Quick, I don't want to stop the Sheikh. Alhamdulillah, we're running out of juice. But barakallahu feekum. We're going to have to close this interview, inshallah ta'ala. Just in closing remarks, we thank the brother, we thank the esteemed guests from traveling a long way to come down here, inshallah ta'ala, to give us an interview. And this interview, we did not set it up for the purpose of bashing or anything. This interview, we really wanted to know where the brother, studied from, what he got going on, some of the programs that he have, and barakallahu feek. And like we said, we have some more interviews coming along. That's not about bashing, but just introducing people to other students besides the people that we have known here in the West. And there's a lot of history, as you can see, with a lot of the students and a lot of the du'as that we know now. There are a lot of history amongst them because they met, and there's a lot of underhandedness and stuff, but we're not trying to expose that, and just to expose it, we're not trying to do that, but we are trying to wake the people up, inshallah. Jazakallah khair, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Ameen. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh.